Hello everyone and welcome to Premier League Preview and Predictions with me, Steve, and welcome to Daydreamer Gaming. So this is it, the 16-17 season is coming to a close. This weekend's games are the final ones of the season. And there's a lot of games that don't really mean anything. The title has already been won and the three teams being relegated has already been decided. The one thing that hasn't been decided is who clinches that final Champions League spot. And it's between three teams. So for this video, I'm just going to talk about those three teams really and the fixtures that they're involved in and how I see this weekend going and who I think is going to clinch those two spots. And I'll also talk about my team of the year, give you my thoughts on the best and worst signings and just some little things like that.
Our match today, as we welcome you to the home of
Before we go into this, I'd just like to make you aware that anyone watching this video has a 10% discount over at gamerborn.co.uk. Just enter the code DDGaming. There's some fantastic stuff on their website for all your game-related clothing needs. So the first game I'm going to talk about is this one that you're seeing here, which is Liverpool versus Middlesbrough. So Liverpool currently sit in 4th place, 73 points, and I'm going to talk about the goal difference here. So Liverpool have a goal difference of plus 33, scored 75, conceded 42, and that could come into effect. Come the final minutes of the Premier League season. They obviously face a Middlesbrough side that have been relegated. Poor season all round really for Middlesbrough, obviously being relegated. Liverpool were looking good at the start of the season. I actually thought at one point they might go on and win the Premier League, but it's not been their year, as their fans tell us every year. I do see them winning this game. I see them winning it quite comfortably. I'd like to think that Middlesbrough won't just lie down and allow them Liverpool to win by 3 or 4 goals, but you know, it is the final game of the season, and the term "on the beach" could very well be the case for the Middlesbrough players. So I do expect them to win and expect them to win comfortably, which will obviously a win will see them finish at least 4th. They are a point above the team in 5th, who are Arsenal. So Arsenal are on 72 points, scored 43, conceded 31. No, they haven't. They've conceded 43, which gives them a goal difference of 31. Apologies. And they are at home to Everton. So Everton have had a fantastic season. First one under Koeman. They're going to finish 7th. They can't finish any higher or any lower. So it's you know, mission accomplished for them. They are in Europe next season. Arsenal, we all know what's going on. With Arsenal, is Wenger going to sign? Is he not? Is he going to leave? I still stick to my guns. I think there will be an announcement after the FA Cup final, and I think he's going to announce that he has signed a 2-year contract, which won't. I don't know how that's going to go down. I think it depends what happens these next 2 weekends. So I can see Arsenal beating Everton at home. It won't be an easy game. It'll be quite tough. Everton will want to prove a point. Lukaku is still chasing that golden boot, although he is 2 behind Harry Kane. But I do expect Arsenal to win. Now, if Arsenal win and Liverpool win, Arsenal will remain 5th, and Liverpool will be 4th, and they will get that Champions League spot. The final game that impacts that sort of that top 4 is Watford versus Man City. So Man City are currently in 3rd place. They have 75 points, so 2 points clear of the team in 4th and 3 points clear of the team in 5th. Their goal difference doesn't really come into it as much, just because of that 2-point gap. Watford announced this week that their manager Walter Mazzarri will stand down at the end of the season. I find the decision a little bit strange. Surely Watford's a manager going into Watford, their objective is stay in the Premier League, and he's done that. I mean, Watford are 16th, not great, you know, that's kind of teetering on the edge a little bit, but they can't go down now. We know that because the 3 teams going down has been decided. So it's just this managerial merry-go-round that they've got going on at Watford, and you know, it's not nice to see, especially if a manager has hit his objectives. So yeah, it's a strange one. I think for me it almost felt like he was only ever going to last a season anyway. I think the fact that he still does his interviews in Italian, that indicated to me from the start, well, he's perhaps not learning English because he knows he's not going to be here. That, you know, a lot of people have said actually he did have English lessons for a year before he came, but he just chooses to speak Italian because his English isn't strong enough. But anyway, he will be stepping down after tomorrow's game. The early favourite was Claudio Ranieri. That rumour came about actually a couple of weeks after Ranieri lost his job at Leicester, that he would be in line to replace Mazzarri at Watford. The money, according to the bookies, has dried up there for Ranieri, and he's no longer the favourite. And Marco Silva, the Hull boss, is now the favourite. Hull have obviously been relegated, and despite being relegated, I do think they have a very, very special manager there in Marco Silva. I think he can go on to bigger and better things, potentially bigger and better things than Watford. But you know, if they come along and offer him a job, I think he will take it. You know, I think Hull fans must realise that, you know, maybe he wasn't going to stick around and go down to the Championship. But hey, I could be wrong, and you know, we know what it's like. The favourite to get a job doesn't always get it. So, but I don't think Watford could do much worse actually than to get Marco Silva. Let's just hope that he isn't just given the one season. Man City finished 3rd, or looking like they're going to finish 3rd. Chambers. Earlier on in the season, you know, I think Pep went 9 games unbeaten, and everyone thought, wow, they're gonna absolutely walk away with this. And then, you know, a few results didn't go their way, and you know, they struggled against Celtic in the Champions League, and then there was a couple of games after that where they didn't do so well. It's quite clear that Guardiola doesn't know his best team. I think the game against Leicester the other week was the first time this season that he had named the same team back to back. So for the previous 36 games, he'd changed at least one player in every game from the previous, which is crazy, really. I think Man City are going to buy big, especially at the back in the summer. So yeah, Guardiola has come out and said that, I don't know, maybe it's just a language barrier thing, but he said, if I was at a big club, I would have been sacked for, you know, not delivering any trophies and finishing 3rd. I think what he meant was if he was at Barcelona or Bayern Munich. Now, are Man City a big club or not? That's for another day. But I think most of us knew what he meant. But there's quite clearly a project going on at Man City. The owners have got a project in mind, and they know that these things aren't overnight. And I think they realise that, do you know what, the Premier League is pretty competitive. But they're doing some special things there at Man City. You know, the academies look absolutely fantastic. Their youth teams are very good. Their women's team is dominant. So they're building for a future, and they know that, you know, maybe the Guardiola being in charge thing is going to take 2 or 3 years, but you know, they're always going to be there or thereabouts, and as long as they're getting Champions League football every year, that's you know, the money is going to be coming in. That said, I actually think, you know, this game could finish in a draw. Now, a draw would be enough for Man City. So yeah, I think it'll be job done for Man City and Champions League football for them. So, based on my predictions, the table would stay pretty much the same, would it? Yes, it would depend how heavily Liverpool beat Man City. Liverpool could actually finish third if they close that deficit. So Man City's goal difference is plus 36. So if Man City were to draw and Liverpool were to win 4-0, for example, or then Liverpool would finish third, and Man City would then have to qualify for the Champions League, but they would probably get a nice favourable tie that would be, you know, winnable, but shall we say, which would mean that, based on my predictions, Arsenal would miss out on Champions League football for the first time in God knows how long. I think if that happens, and then you couple that with Arsenal losing the FA Cup final next weekend, I dread to think what the reaction would be if Wenger does announce that he is staying. Then finishing fourth and winning the FA Cup, it would just be very typical Arsenal, and you know, the Wenger in brigade would be saying, oh well, you can't sack him, you can't, or you know, you can't not offer him a contract because we finished fourth and we won the FA Cup. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. I think a lot of the football is going to be centred around Arsenal over the next couple of weeks. So yeah, that's my predictions. The only other thing I want to perhaps make note of around those games is if Middlesbrough, I think I've read this right, if Middlesbrough beat Liverpool 2-0 and Arsenal draw 1-1, I think that's right, or they draw 1-1, that's right, then it will go to a playoff for that final Champions League spot, because Arsenal and Liverpool will be on the same amount of goals scored, same amount of goals against, and would be on the same goal difference. So Liverpool have to lose 2-0 and Arsenal have to draw 1-1 for a Champions League playoff to happen, which would make it very, very exciting indeed. Can I see Middlesbrough getting a 2-0 win at Anfield? Absolutely not. So, you know, it's one of those things that, you know, it's been reported in the press and social media this could happen, but I would be very, very surprised if it does happen, just purely because for Middlesbrough to go to Anfield to win 2-0 when Liverpool know that, you know, they perhaps just need to win to make sure, I can't see it happening. But hey, it's out there, it's a possibility, so you never know. You never know. Okay. So Manchester United are in the Europa League. They play Ajax on Wednesday, so expect a very changed and very young-looking Manchester United side at the weekend. What else is there to mention? Okay, so Tottenham absolutely battered Leicester the other night. It was 4-1 when I left, and it finished 6-1. So, yeah, not a very good day at the office for Leicester. Very good day at the office for Harry Kane, bagging 4 goals, which put him top of the Golden Boot ahead of Lukaku by 2 goals. So, big ask really for Lukaku to score 3 goals at the Emirates, but stranger things have happened. think he scored 4 once on the last day of the season for West Brom. It was Alex Ferguson's last match for United. It finished 5-5 or something ridiculous. I may be wrong there, but I know he's. I think he's done it before. Scored a hat-trick on the last day. Was my point. Just quickly on Leicester. So, not a very good endorsement for Craig Shakespeare to get the job. Yes, he has kept Leicester up, but that was quite alarming, that performance, and I think it showed that there's a lack of strength in depth in that Leicester squad. So big things going to happen, I think, over the summer at Leicester. I think there's going to be quite a lot of comings and goings in terms of players, and potentially a new name as the manager, but we shall see. Over the summer I'll probably do some separate videos around Leicester, as they are, as you know by now, the team that I support and the team that I like to talk about the most. Okay, so just quickly, while I've got a bit of time, I'm just going to go through my team of the year. I'm not going to go into too much detail as to why, because some of it will be very obvious, and some honourable mentions of players who I think have had good seasons. So I think to start off, I'm going to go a little bit left field, and I know he plays for a team that have been relegated, but I think without Jordan Pickford, Sunderland would have been relegated months ago, and I think he's had a great season, and he's absolutely one for the future. And a lot of clubs will be after him. I think there's going to be quite a bit of movement in terms of goalkeepers around the Premier League this summer. So Jordan Pickford is my goalkeeper now. Could have gone for De Gea, but it seems like a bit of an obvious choice. And has he really been tested this season? United have been so good defensively that he hasn't had to pull off the wonder saves of the previous couple of seasons. No doubt he has produced some great saves as the season's gone on. But yeah, I just thought, De Gea was maybe a little bit obvious, so I've gone for Jordan Pickford. I'm going to go with a back three, as that's the formation that the champions have used for most of the season. So my back three, I'm going to go with Alderweireld of Tottenham. I'm going to go with Gary Cahill, and I'm going to go with David Luiz. Alderweireld is slowly but surely becoming a world-class centre-back. I think he's absolutely superb, and he's one of these Tottenham players that could end up leaving for a lot of money, because I do think he is that good. Cahill has stepped in this season. Poor last season, really upped his game this season. Pretty much been the captain all season, because John Terry hasn't really played. And, big boots to fill there with John Terry not really playing. And he's done a great job, scored a few goals. I just think overall he's had a great season. My reason for picking David Luiz, I just think a lot of people sniggered and laughed when he was re-signed by Chelsea, but he looks a lot more comfortable in that back three, and he's been very good this season. Couple of shaky moments, but no, I think he's kept the doubters quiet, shall we say. There was a lot of people, as I say, wondering why Chelsea had made that signature, but he's done brilliantly. So my wing backs, I'm going to go with it's a little bit lopsided this, but it's just to maybe get the players in. I'm going to go with Azpilicueta. He's been absolutely brilliant. Another player that has just come on, has really gone to the top of the shop when it comes to best fullback / wing backs in world football. And on the other side, technically not a wing back, but a very good attacking defender, or fullback should I say, is Kyle Walker. Great season. I wasn't convinced about Kyle Walker for a very long time, but I am now. Talk of him potentially going to Man City, which kind of links into what I was saying earlier with Man City buying defenders, and his name has been mentioned as someone that will potentially leave Tottenham and head to Man City, which yeah, not good, but could happen. Could happen. Going to go with three in midfield. Yeah, I'll go with 3 in midfield. So I'm going to go with Christian Eriksen, Dele Alli, and of course N'Golo Kante. So N'Golo Kante goes without saying. What a season! What a player! The last 2 seasons he's just been superb. You know, all right, technically perhaps not the best, but he's as a defensive midfielder, he's probably one of the best in the world now. Christian Eriksen has had a great season, absolute wonderful right foot, and he's been brilliant. And Dele Alli is just a talent that should get better and better and better, and hopefully can be used in the correct way by England. Yeah, so they're my three midfielders, and I'm going to go with 2 strikers. So it's going to have to be the top 2 for me that are the top 2 goal scorers currently, and that's going to have to be Lukaku and Harry Kane. So Harry Kane's done it again, 25 plus goals in a season for the 3rd season in a row, I believe. Yeah, he's just a goal scoring machine, and he has age on his side. If he can keep going, stay fit, stays in the Premier League, I can see him beating the goal scoring record, but we're a long way off that yet. Again, another great player that Tottenham need to keep hold of. And Lukaku, he's just alright, he's blown a little bit hot and cold near the end of the season, but 24 goals in a season, you know, that's some good going. So that's my team of the year. Some honourable mentions. I think Danny Rose has been great. Goalkeeper wise, you know, De Gea, Courtois. David Silva's had a great season. Eden Hazard has had another great season. Costa's been good again. So yeah, it was. Yeah, Eric Bailly's been a good signing at United. Ibrahimovic, of course. So yeah, some good players there missing out on my team of the year, but yeah, there we go. And just very, very quickly, while as we come to the end of this video, so my signing of the season has to be N'Golo Kante. You know, is it a coincidence that you know, he was in the Leicester side that won the league, and then when he leaves Leicester, could finish 10th. He joined a Chelsea team that finished 10th and then have now won the league. You know, great signing, fit straight into that Chelsea side as though he'd been there for like the last 5 or 10 years and that he was an experienced pro. It's only his 2nd season in the Premier League, and he's just took to it like a duck to water. So absolutely the signing of the season for me. Ibrahimovic, very close second in terms of signings of the season. Flop of the season, Claudio Bravo springs to mind. I think there's a few Leicester players that spring to mind. So Ahmed Musa has been pretty bad. Islam Slimani, not fantastic for the amount of money that Leicester paid. Sorry. So yeah, I'd probably go with Claudio Bravo because he's been very poor, very, very poor. And finally, I'm going to go classic here. Let's carry this on, so I don't have to rush the end of my video. Yeah, so goal of the season. There's been some superb goals scored this season. Mkhitaryan's scorpion kick, Giroud's scorpion kick,
makes the challenge here.
Emre Can against Watford, Hazard's dribble versus Arsenal. Pogba scored a lovely volley against Swansea, I remember. From a Leicester fan's point of view, Demarai Gray against Manchester United at Old Trafford. Dane Drinkwaters against Liverpool springs to mind as well. Andy King against, perhaps not goal of the season contender, but from a Leicester point of view, Andy King's goal against Man City was quite nice. So yeah, some great goals scored, but for me personally, I am going to go with Andy Carroll's goal for West Ham. Obviously, I believe it was against Crystal Palace. I can't be 100% sure, but it was the scissor kick, the technique, the height, the power that he got on it was unbelievable. And when Andy Carroll's on fire and he's on song, he's brilliant. It's unfortunate that he just gets injured so much he doesn't show it. So yeah, that's my goal of the season, Andy Carroll with the scissor kick against Crystal Palace, maybe. But either way, it was a great goal. Yeah, so I don't think there's much more to say really on the Premier League. It's been competitive as usual. We've had 6 teams vying for 4 places. We've had Everton popping up into 7th. Then you've had a group of teams in that middle of that table. Southampton, Bournemouth, Leicester, you know, a couple of others as well. You know, fair play to Swansea for managing to stay in the league. Commiserations to Hull. I think it was very unfortunate. What else? I think Burnley have done great to stay up. Bournemouth as well. 3rd season in the Premier League next year. I am thankful and grateful that Leicester will be playing Premier League football next year, because at one point I really did not think it was going to happen. I would like to see us finish on a win tomorrow after what happened on Thursday against Tottenham, and hopefully Leicester can finish 10th, which overall will be a successful season. Most Leicester fans would have said finish in the top half and get out of the Champions League group. Well, the Champions League part accomplished, and if we can finish 10th now, that would be great.
Good challenge here.
We have Bournemouth and Newcastle joining the Premier League next season, and the playoff final is between Huddersfield and Reading, so that'll be interesting to see what happens there, see who comes up. So yeah, end of the season. I don't really. I'm kind of ready for it to. Oh dear, that's bad. I'm gutted for it to be finishing in a way, because I never like the football season finish, and I get a bit depressed over the summer. But these last few weeks, the games have been pretty poor. Teams not competing because the season's really over. But yeah. Another season has finished. It's gone way too quick, and I'll already be counting down the days until the fixture list comes out. So anyway, I'm not going to bore you for any longer. I'm going to end this game. It's very late here now. So thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining me this season on these videos. It's been a pleasure. It's something new that I've done. You know, please like, subscribe, share the video, and please comment, you know, constructive criticism, you know, don't go trolling me or anything like that. So yeah, I've been Steve. This has been Premier League Preview and Predictions, the final one of the 16-17 season. This is of course Daydreamer Gaming, and I hope to see you very, very soon. Enjoy the final weekend of the season, guys. Cheers, bye.